I have interviewed over 400 people on my Cool Things Entrepreneurs Do podcast. And one of the recurring themes that I hear from people who are doing amazing things is that they take ownership of their life no matter what. They own the good, but they also fess up when they fail. It's okay. In entrepreneurship, we hear all the time that you've got to go out there and try new things. You've got to fail fast. But this whole idea of taking ownership is important. I talked to one successful entrepreneur, and he told me a story that, his first company lost $25 million of venture funding. He was about 30 years old, and he thought, that's it. My time as an entrepreneur is over. No one's ever going to invest in me again. And then he started another company. And he asked me if I knew who gave him the money to start the new company. And it was the same investors he had worked with the first time. And he said the reason was that when they had a debrief about what went wrong, and there were a lot of things that went wrong, he took ownership of it. And he talked about what he learned from what had happened. And one of the investors said, well, that's good because we know you won't make that mistake again. So this whole idea of taking ownership makes a difference. Do all of your employees, do everyone on your team own the good and the bad of what happens in their career? I spoke at a big conference recently, and a CEO who was there with some staff members told me afterwards that when I talked about this concept about taking ownership, that if you really want to succeed, you can't point fingers at other people when things don't go your way. He told me that it set a reset button in his most difficult employee. He said that this kid was a good kid, but every time something went wrong, there was always an excuse. And at the break, he was asking his employee what he liked about the keynote. And he was fixated on this whole idea of taking ownership, whether it's good or bad, owning it. And he told his boss, I don't think I do that. I think I point the finger a lot. And his boss told me he wanted to look at him and go, you think? He said that I set that reset button in him. And he said that if it paid off, it might even save this kid's career. So here's the thing. I work with companies talking about the gap between potential and performance. And this is one of the modules that we go deep in. What about you? Are you taking ownership? Let's face it, we all have things that go wrong. What's something in the last 6 months that didn't go well? Do you own it, or have you just swept it under the rug? Take ownership.